Okay, good morning. Thank you, Dov, for the setup.
Good morning.
And good morning, everybody. And let's learn Le'ilei Nishmas, Dov's father, Zichron Levracha, Moshe ben Yitzchak, Zichron Levracha. Dov's father.
Dov.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Parshat Ki Tavo. Dov, thanks for setting things up and opening up for us page 1068.
I had little L's around here.
Okay.
Why does it say Savo?
Oh, well, it's written Ki Savo. The Ashkenazic pronunciation, when the Taf doesn't have the dot, is a Sa.
Hello?
And the Sephardic pronunciation is with or without a dot, it's a Ta. And the modern Hebrew pronunciation is with a Ta also. My friend Brana?
Yes.
Hi Brana, good morning, how are you? Okay. Okay, so let us begin. Should we hit the AC? Everybody okay?
You want AC?
Okay, yeah, though. Let's hit the AC.
What temperature you like? 32?
Yes, good.
Five.
Yes,
Yeah.
good. Yes, good. Yes.
Anything lower.
You're cold? You're hot?
It's hot.
That's so funny.
I'm not at all.
I mean, I could use it, but for me, I'm not. I guess I've become a real Californian. Though I tell you what, walking out these past 2 mornings, walking out about 6:20, it felt like Florida, not like California. It was balmy. Yeah, it was like, whoa. Where am I? Okay. Vaya ki tavo. Who'd like to lead off for us in Hebrew? Marta.
והיה כי תבוא אל הארץ אשר השם אלוהיך נותן לך נחלה וירשתה
וישבת.
וישבת בו.
Good. One more.
ולקחת מראשית כל פרי האדמה אשר תבוא מארצך אשר השם אלוהיך נותן לך ושמת בתנא והלכת אל המקום אשר יבחר השם אלוהיך לשכן שמו שם.
Good. Okay, in English. Amy, you want to read for us?
It will be when you enter the land that Hashem, your God, gives you an inheritance, and you possess it, and dwell in it, that you shall take of the first of every fruit of the ground that you bring in from your land that Hashem, your God, gives you. And you shall put it in a basket, and go to the place that Hashem, your God, will choose to make his name rest here.
Good. Okay, so you're taking, when you enter the land, the land that God has given you. It's interesting, the emphasis here. When you enter the land that Hashem, your God, gives you as an inheritance, and you possess it and dwell in it, then you should take of the first of every fruit of the ground that you bring from your land. Me'artzecha, you're bringing from your land, but don't forget that what? Asher Hashem Elokecha notein lach. It's the land that Hashem, your God, has given to you. And you're going to take the first of the fruits. These are called the bikurim, right? Like a bechor is the firstborn, right? Same shorish, the same root. The bikurim are the first fruits. Put it in a basket and go to the place that Hashem, your God, will choose to make his name rest there. Of course, that is referring to what will be the Beit HaMikdash in Yerushalayim. Okay? So you're taking these first fruits. As they first start to blossom, you're going to tie something around it. So you'll know that as it all blossoms, you'll know which one was those first fruits, and you put it into a basket and bring it to the Beit HaMikdash. Let's continue. Someone else in English?
I just have a question. When
Yes.
you said fruits of the ground, aren't they fruits of the trees? When they're off, when fruit goes to the ground, it starts rotting, actually.
Well, the fruits of the ground are
It
going.
grew from the ground.
Yes,
Okay.
right. Bikurim were brought from the 7 types
Okay.
that Israel is praised by. Now that includes some of the peirot fruits, right? It merely means the produce,
The produce.
right? In other words, it will include also wheat,
Okay,
right?
from anything that
Right.
comes from the ground, from trees or
Correct,
okay.
correct. But it's those that the land of Israel is praised by those items. Yes, though.
Is Bikurim also like mean chosen? Like this is dedicated?
That's a different word. That's a ches, not a chaf. It's a completely different word. Like Am HaNivchar, that's bet chet. This is bet chaf. So that's a different shorish, a different word. Okay. Someone else in English, number 3? Someone want to pick that up? Don't be bashful.
You shall come to whoever will be the Kohen in those days. You shall say to him, I declare today to Hashem your God that I have come to the land that Hashem swore to our forefathers to give us. The Kohen shall take the basket from your hand and lay it before the altar of Hashem your God. Then you shall call out and say before Hashem your God, an Aramean tried to destroy my forefather.
Let's hear that in English. Yeah, in Hebrew. Yaf, you want to take from Pasuk K? And let's hear where this sounds familiar. Vanita.
ואנית ואמרת לפני השם אלוהיך, ארמי עובד אבי, וירד מצרימה, ויגור שם במתי מעט, ויהי שם לגוי גדול עצום ורב. ויראו אותנו המצרים ויענונו, ויתנו עלינו עבודה קשה. ונצעק אל השם אלוהינו, אבותינו, וישמע השם את קולנו, וירא את עניינו ואת עמלנו ואת לחצנו. ויצירני השם ממצרים ביד חזקה ובזרונת ויואב ומורה גדול ובאותות ובמופתים. ויביאנו למקום הזה וייתן לנו את הארץ הזאת, ארץ זבת חלב ודבש.
Good. Does that sound familiar to anybody? That's the
Haggadah.
Haggadah. Right? In the Haggadah, on Pesach night, when we go through the psukim about Exodus, right? So we go through and we interpret, right? Each and every word, every clause over here is mentioned, is interpreted, is broken down. Now it seems strange. It seems strange that if on the night of the Seder, see what happens if you come late? Get sit next to the teacher, right? Right? So if the Seder night, you would imagine that if we're going to take a series of psukim and we're going to put the microscope to it and go through what each word, what each clause means, which psukim should we take? Where should we bring these psukim from? From which book of the Torah should we bring these psukim? Exodus, from Shmos. From the Exodus. This is the night of the Exodus. We should take those parshiot in Shmot and break them apart. And what do we begin with, at least over there? What do we focus on? We're focusing on over here in Devarim, which is the Parsha of the Bikurim. And what's happening here? So pick up again. Linda, you were there, verse 5 in English? 1069? Yeah.
Verse 5, okay. Then you shall call out and say before Hashem your God, an Aramean tried to destroy my forefather.
Right, that's Lavan Arami, right?
Yeah.
He descended to Egypt and sojourned there, few in number, and there he became a nation, great, strong, and numerous. The Egyptians mistreated us and afflicted us and placed hard work upon us. Then we cried out to Hashem, the God of our fathers, and Hashem heard our voice and saw our affliction, our travail, and our oppression. Hashem
Took us out of Egypt.
Hashem took us out of Egypt with strong hand and with an outstretched arm, with great awesomeness and with signs and with wonders. He brought us to this place. He gave us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. And now behold, I have brought the first fruit of the ground that you have given me, O Hashem, and you shall lay it before Hashem your God, and you shall prostrate yourself before Hashem your God.
That's quite a windy expression over here. It's going through, right? Here he is bringing the first fruits, and it turns into a complete history lesson over here. Right? He's bringing the first fruits. We're going back to Lavan, Yaakov, going down to Mitzrayim, becoming a great nation. They afflicted us. Hashem took us out with an outstretched arm and brought us to this land. Very, very wordy, right? You bring in the first fruits, thanking Hashem, right? And we have this whole long presentation we're making over here. There seems to be so much importance being attached to this mitzvah of Bikurim. Now look back for a moment to page 1066. What's the last thing we had before this? Zachor et asher asalacha Amalek b'derech b'tzeischem mitzrayim. Remember what Amalek did to you, asher karcha b'derech, that they happened upon you on the way, right, when you were tired, weary, right, and therefore, right, Amalek is coming right before Bikurim. Something to note. Now, the Gemara makes a very astounding connection. If we go back to page 2, I'm assuming it's page 2. Let's see if I'm right. I'm looking for Bereshit. Yeah, page 2. Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Bereshit. The word Bereshit has a prefix, and then it has the word. Be is the prefix. Reshit means beginning. Bereshit simply means Bereshit, in the beginning, either God created or of God's creation of heavens and earth. However, the Medrash says that the prefix be can mean in the beginning, or it can mean for, because of. Bereshit. Because of the things, or a thing that is called Reshit, because of Reshit, that's why bara Elokim. That's why God created the heavens. And Rashi brings, it was for the sake of the Torah that's called Reshit. It was for the sake of Israel that was called Reshit. But the Medrash also says, what else is called Reshit? Come back to 1068. V'lakachta, you will take, me Reshit. Second line, fourth to last word, fourth to last word of the line. V'lakachta, and you will take, me from Reshit, the first of Kol Pri Hadama, the first of all of the fruits. So what else is called Reshit? The Bikurim are called Reshit. So the sages say, oh, Bereshit, it was because of Bikurim, that is why God created the world. It was all about this mitzvah of Bikurim. This mitzvah Bikurim, it says it all. And that's why God created the world. Okay, let's go on. No, I'm kidding. We'll discuss that. Yes, Sam.
What is Bikurim?
The Bikurim are the first fruits.
Okay.
This is the mitzvah of Bikurim, the first fruits, that a person must put a sign on so you know which it is, and bring it to Yerushalayim, and then make this whole wordy pronouncement of this whole Jewish history lesson, and then say thank you, and then put it down.
Okay, so you're saying because of the first fruits, Hashem gave us all of this so we could do that mitzvah?
That's right. The world was created, in other words, on a certain level. This mitzvah encapsulates all that this world is about, and this is why the world was created.
Okay, so it's about being thankful, also recognizing your suffering, and then...
Okay, so let's hear what is Bikurim teaching us that we could say, or we could try to understand, that because of this, bara ha'olam. So Amy, continue. So you're giving some ideas.
What did you say, Bara?
God created the world. Right? Rachel, Bereshit, because of Reshit, because of Bikurim, that is why bara Elokim. That is why God created the world. Okay? So you started to say, Amy, so you continue now. So what does Bikurim contain? What does it teach us? What are the elements of Bikurim? Let's try to analyze this. Let's try to get an understanding here.
Recognizing our blessings.
Okay. So first and foremost, Bikurim is thankfulness. First and foremost, Bikurim is appreciating. Right? And it's pointed out that it's specifically the Bikurim, the first fruits, because right, besides that it was an agricultural society, but farmers really work hands-on from sunrise to sunset, and they start months in advance before they're even plowing. They're starting to prepare the field, and then there's the plowing, and then there is the planting, and then there is all that goes on. And then finally you have your first fruits coming out. And there is such a sense of ownership, of Maaseh Yadai Lehitpa'er. Look what I have done. Look at the fruits, right? The expression, the fruits of my labor. Right? We use that for everything because so much toil goes into these fruits. And then there is this recognition of thanks. With all that I have done, it's not all me. With all that I have done, thank you, Hashem. I take that and I bring it to Hashem. Okay, good. So right away we have gratitude, thankfulness.
It also sets into motion the idea that everything we have is given to us from Hashem, and of course then we have gratitude. So it's a process that right away it starts in.
Okay.
That of He gives, we take it, say thank you. He gives again.
Good.
He gives again. We say thank you again.
Good.
It goes on and on. And
Okay, so the way to receive
it's
bracha,
yeah.
the way to receive bracha blessing is by showing that appreciation. Good.
Right.
Good. Linda.
I think also the fact that it's the first fruits
Yep.
teaches us that Hashem has to come first in our life.
Okay, good. Good. Let's deal with ratio. Let's deal with first. Okay? Now, also I want to point out, we discussed this previously, we discussed the whole thing with Meraglim. It says when you go into the land, this is Moshe speaking, when you're going to go into the land, and we discussed by the Meraglim, by the scouts who discouraged us from going into Israel, there was a step down which then enables a step up by going into the land of Israel. And life is forever a step down which enables a step up. Actually, our very life, our very birth, we view that as a step down, the neshama coming down, the soul coming down from the olam ruchani, from a spiritual world where it was all available for it, in order to make gains and to move forward, in order to have a step up. Now, in the Midbar, there was a constant, miraculous existence. Everything that happened in the Midbar, in the wilderness, was miraculous. Our food was miraculous. Our water was miraculous. Everything was miraculous. We were literally living in the hand, like the Allstate commercial. We were literally visibly in Hashem's hands. And now we're going to go into Israel. And what's going to happen? All of a sudden now, the man is not going to fall from the heavens. We're going to have to start plowing and planting and harvesting. We're putting in all the effort, but we have to realize that with all of that effort, it's no different than the man. Because if you think about it, right, we mentioned this before, if we were to see food falling from the heaven, what would we say?
Miracle.
It's a miracle. But we see food growing from the ground. Is that any less miraculous?
No.
But we've gotten bored. We've grown accustomed to it. So a miracle that we've grown accustomed to, and we can expect it to happen on a regular basis, is what we call nature. Nature is a predictable miracle, a predictable wonder. And a miracle is a non-expected, non-predictable wonder. So going into the land of Israel, where all of a sudden we will be living in a world of teva, of nature, we need to recognize that there is no teva. There is no nature. There are predictable miracles, predictable acts of the hand of God, and non-predictable. And when you're living in an environment where it's predictable, there the challenge is to stay focused. That's the step down in order to step up, in order to ascend even higher, that even in this natural world, we're recognizing that it is completely and absolutely miraculous. And therefore, after all of the toil, after all that we are doing, we recognize that this is, I think it's Artzecha, I think it's my land, but it's the land that God gave me. And it's everything that God has given us. This is an absolute gift from God. And therefore, the least I can do is to take that first and bring that to the Beis HaMikdash, present it to the Kohanim, and say, thank you, Hashem, and to go back in this history lesson over here. Hi, Ali. How are you? To come back to this. That's it. That's it.
Me too.
Right? To get this history lesson over here, right? That we have to realize where it is that we came from, all that went into our getting to this point, and to feel this overwhelming sense of gratitude. So at this point we're saying that because of the Bikurim, because of the first fruits, that's why God created the world. It's called Reshit, Bereshit. Because of this, God created the world. So we have a sense of appreciation, a sense of acknowledgement. Are we there yet in understanding why Hashem created the world for this? For this He created the Olam, the world. So let's try to take this a step further.
Rabbi,
Yes.
I think also it's a matter of a relationship, because God gave us the land, and the land gave the first fruits. So it's always like giving the Bikurim is a kind of remembering always the relationship that I gave the land.
Okay. Good.
The Bikurim is from the Mereshit is from the Reshit. It's out of the Reshit.
Good.
So
Yafi's adding a very important point. That's taking us quite a bit further on our little journey here to understanding this. Thankfulness, appreciation, acknowledgement is what enables there to be a relationship. Right? If I appreciate what's coming to me, then I am acknowledging that there is a connection, there is a bond. And as Chaya Rivka said, in order for there to be bracha, right, it's not cash and carry that we're doing this in order, trying to push the buttons, but that is what happens. When we appreciate, we build a relationship, then it is an ongoing relationship, an ongoing process. Yes, Dov?
There's something here where Hashem says, here's a great privilege. This mitzvah is a great privilege to go bring it to the Kohen. Something, a great privilege. We got to understand.
Okay, good. Yes. Okay, so it's also another opportunity to connect. Right? This connection brings us to Yerushalayim, brings us to the Beis HaMikdash, brings us to the Kohanim, and thereby helps this connection along.
It's a process.
Yes.
There was, you mentioned about the history lesson. The history lesson is a reminder of what the Jews went through, the suffering and the difficulty. If they hadn't gone through the suffering or difficulty for a long time, they would not have appreciated the fruits the way in the land the way they did. They finally settled down to something beautiful.
Yes. Okay. Good. So Charik is pointing out that the history lesson. You know, we read so many stories of a person who was very, very ill, and then got through that illness, and how they'll speak about how they are have such a sense of gratitude, not just that they got better. They got gratitude. They have a sense of gratitude that they were sick, and they got better, because only now do they appreciate life. Are they living life on a whole different level with a whole different awareness and appreciation? Right. So certainly by going through the difficulty, that heightens our appreciation.
So
now there's
Rabbi, I want to share something. From the last war, there's one of the very severe wounded soldier at the hospital, and the whole family just left everything, and everybody gathered around his bed, you know, singing to him, talking to him 24/7. He was not left alone, and he got better. And on Friday, on one of the news in Israel, they were interviewing the whole family, and they said that it's not that they wanted him to be wounded for them to go into this spiritual, you know, but what this did to the family is like unbelievable, because they were there 24/7. They were talking to each other, and they talked to him, and they were just going into the neshama of each one of them, and it built up such a family reunion and the whole. So one of the brothers says, you know, it was kind of a blessing, you know, it's not a blessing, but it is. At the end of the day, it was the whole process that they were going in. It's like unbelievable.
And that's really what I mentioned before, that Yerida L'Tzorach Aliyah, that life is constantly these situations which have in them the potential, if we can utilize it, the potential for growth. Now there's a Baal HaTurim. The Baal HaTurim I mentioned in this. Yes.
So when it says the first fruit of every fruit of the ground.
It's of the seven species that the land is praised.
Okay.
Yeah. So, the Baal HaTurim says something that's very strange. The Baal HaTurim is one of the commentators on the Chumash. We said you're going to take the fruits and put it into a basket. Okay? What was the Hebrew word for basket over here? Batene. Okay? Tena is spelled Tet, Nun, Aleph. The numerical value of tene, of basket, is 60. 9, 50, and 1. Tet, 9, Nun, 50, Aleph, 1. It's 60. So he says that tene has a numerical value of 60. In this entire Parsha, the letter Samach, which is the numerical value of 60, is not found. And that's why Bikurim, how much Bikurim do you bring? 1 out of 60. That's the measure that you bring. What does that mean? What is that talking about? Okay, so let's go a little bit further, and then we'll be able to answer up some of the questions we brought up over here. Because of this, the world was created. Bishvil bikurim nivra ha'olam. We mentioned before, the Hebrew word for world is olam. Ayin vav lamid mem. What is the root of the word olam? Ayin lamid mem means missing, means hidden. Ne'elam. It's hidden. It's missing. So the Hebrew word for world, at its root, is hidden. Why is the world described as hidden? From a Torah viewpoint, the world is the place where God hides. That is what the Olam is. The world is the place wherein God is hidden. Now, why does God hide? Wouldn't it be that much easier if we would walk into the shul and there would be this bright light emanating from the Aron Kodesh, like it was in the Mishkan? There was this incredible presence of God, right? And you do something wrong, and the proverbial, not proverbial, but the lightning bolt comes down, right? Why does God hide, Amy?
Because he wants us to spread his light here on earth.
Okay.
Us, we're to do the
Excellent. He wants us to partner in his presence being known. He doesn't want us to be angels. An angel sees God and cries out, Kadosh, 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 holy, holy, holy. We are meant to be partners in creation with God by building ourselves and by building the awareness that we need to put God's presence into this world. He wants us to play a role, to take ownership. I recognize, it says in Pirkei Avos that there were 10 utterances with which the world was created. And the way that that's explained, the said, well, he could have done it in one utterance. Why in 10 utterances? Well, the understanding is that with each utterance, he became more and more and more obscured. Had it been 11 utterances, then we could not have found God in this world. Had there been 9 utterances, Vayomer Hashem Yehi, Vayomer Hashem Yehi, then it would have been overly apparent. 10 utterances is what brought the world to the point where we could look out the window and see a tree and a beautiful blue sky and say, wow, Mother Nature is amazing. Or we could look at the very same thing and say, wow, what an incredible world God has created. And that's why 10 always plays, besides on the Kabbalistic level, 10 plays a very important level. The 10 plagues were a peeling back of these layers for that one time to show us exactly what is there.
Okay, so back to the 60, the 1 in 60, is that kind of like 1 in 60 is almost hidden?
Okay, so Amy's making a great point. Amy's making a great point. When it comes to kashrut, right, at what point does something become nullified? Right, batal v'shishim. When it's 60, right? So once it's one, right, if it's 60 already, then you can't taste it. 59, right? There you can taste it. Now, interesting. The word tena, basket, not only is it 60, but it's 59, 1. Tena is tet nun, which is 59, and then aleph is 1. So let's come back. So it's saying that because of Bikur, because of Reshit, God created the world. Now, before we start to explain what Reshit is, different thing that Reshit applies to, what does Reshit mean? First, primary. There's a start. Reshit means that there is a start. Now, when I was in high school, back in the 1800s, so it was understood. What did science say? What does science say about the world? Constant state theory. That the world was always here. It was always here. That's what science said.
Evolution.
At least in the 19th... I'm sorry?
What's it, evolution?
Evolution was of species, but the world, the universe,
The actual world.
the universe was always here. Am I wrong?
It depends what
I
school
never
you
heard
went
that.
to.
Before the Big Bang Theory?
I never heard that.
They didn't
Oh, I
teach
did.
us
That's a
that
big
here.
show, by the way.
I'm so, well, you're more of a you're a scientist.
I am.
Before the Big Bang Theory,
Well,
before the Big Bang Theory, so the universe, it was not a constant state. Did it have a
I
beginning?
never heard that. I never heard that.
So,
yeah.
did it have a beginning?
No.
Before the Big Bang, did they think it had a beginning?
I think they were. I'm not speaking.
To the best of my knowledge, before the Big Bang was accepted, then Bereshit, the idea of this universe having a beginning, was not the accepted scientific view on the universe.
Well, Rabbi, since we always learn matter as we
Yeah, I defer to Janet. I mean, she's the physicist here.
Okay.
Really?
No, I'm not, Heidi. I'm not.
Okay, so Janet, what do you say?
It's on you. It's on you.
Since we always learn that matter is neither created or destroyed, so the thought was there had to be something, but we didn't know what. That it wasn't necessarily the formation, the state we know now had no beginning.
Well, that's right.
But there could have been something else. So this matter existed, and we don't know that there was a Reshit. But in this organization,
Okay.
there must
So the matter always existed.
possibly.
Possibly. Okay. With the Big Bang, it became very clear that this universe had a very clear Reshit, starting point. And from that, all of matter came about. Reshit means beginning. All of these other things that are called Reshit, they all are here in this world to make us realize that there is a Reshit, there is a beginning, and there is a beginning, then there is a beginner, someone who made that beginning.
A creator.
Right? A creator that started this process, who is beyond this creation, and that is what he brought about. So, Bereshit, if we're saying because of Reshit the world was created, it means God hid himself in order that there would be Reshit. God hid himself in order that we would recognize that there is a Reshit, that there is a creator, that there is a beginning.
Oh, so God was always there, always was, but the Reshit, the beginning, is really for human beings.
Correct.
So that's when we start.
We
thinking about
need to understand, living this world, that there was a Reshit. So, Bereshit, because of Reshit, in order for us to partner, in order for us to reach this realization that there is a God, there is a creator, there is a Reshit, that is why God created the world in the Olam, which means hidden. That is why God created this world which is defined as the world in which he hides himself. Now let's go through. Which things are called Reshit? So the Torah is called Reshit. Certainly the Torah is what clearly demonstrates to us that there is a God, that there was a beginning. Yisroel is called Reshit. Now, Yisroel means, we identify Yisroel as the Jewish people. That's true that that's what happened. But that's not what had to have happened. Meaning, there was no person who was born and given the name Yisroel originally. My name's Yisroel. I'm talking about way back then, right? The world's created for Yisroel. That was Avraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov became Yisroel because they were accepting this Reshit, this God, this Creator, and teaching it to others and passing it on to their generations. Had there been other nations at the time that would have accepted this concept, then there would have been a United States of Israel. There would have been numerous nations that were called, that were given this accolade, they were given this name, Yisrael. There weren't. So therefore only Avram and his children are called Yisrael, and at a later point, if someone wants to join Yisrael, the way is through conversion. But at an earlier point, at what the Ramchal calls the period of the roots, then anyone or any group or any nation would have also been Yisrael, would have been part of that. Reshit, the Bikurim are called Reshit. Because what is that showing? That is showing, well, let me pause for a second. The letter Samech is not found in this whole Parsha. There are two approaches to the world represented by two different letters. This is from the Sefer that's called Mina'amakim. There are two approaches to the world represented by two letters. There is the Samach,
Thank you so much.
and there is the Vav. The Samach is the circle. A circle has no beginning and no end. Then there is that's the circle. There is the straight line. The straight line starts and then works its way down. Vav is a yud that extends down. There's a worldview of samach, of endless, of no beginning and no end, sort of like the hamster on that little wheel, going round and round and round but not getting anywhere. And then there is the line, there is the beginning, and there is the end. Is where we start, is where we need to get to. One of them is a belief in a beginning and an end and a creator. The other one is just keeps on going, just keeps on going, just keeps on going. It's no coincidence that the letter Vav is known as Vav HaChibur. Vav is the connecting letter. It's the letter that connects this and that. Vav HaChibur, right? That it connects. Vav is Chibur. Why is Vav Chibur? Connecting? Because Vav lets us know that we need to connect. There is a beginning and there is an end. Bikurim is Reshit. Bikurim is that with all you're involved with all your toil and all your effort and all that you are putting in, there's a Reshit. It's not you who is doing this. All of your toil, all of your success, all that you do, it all connects back to God. It is Reshit. So because of Bikurim, Bikurim, like all the others, is there that in this world where God hides, we peel apart all of these layers of obfuscation and we say, it is you. Hashem. It is you. Amalek, the previous parsha, what was Amalek all about in 1066? Asher karcha b'derech, that which happened to you on the way. Amalek is all about happenstance. Asher karcha, that which happened, coincidence. There is no beginning. There is no end. That is the mindset of Amalek. The world just goes. There is no creator. There is no orchestration. There is no supervision. There is no accountability. It's just live your life. Just do it. Nike. It's just do it. That's what their view is. To counter that, the very next parsha is Bikurim, is Reshit. The letter Samach is not found in this entire parsha. Why? Because Samach is the antithesis of Bikurim. Bikurim is all about getting back to the start, getting back to the beginning, to the creation, to the creator. And as all of you said, acknowledging, appreciating, building a relationship. Samach is not found in this parsha, but it's hinted at. Where? Batene, a basket. What happens when you take something that grew from the ground and you're putting it in a basket? What's happening at that point? It has now been severed. It has been cut off from its life source. That's what the Tana is the Samach. It is that endless loop. It is being severed from its life source. What must we do? We must bring that to the Beit HaMikdash. Even that which appears to be severed, we have to understand that it's not severed. And what do? We bring it back to its source. How much do we bring? 1 out of 60. What is 1? 1 is Echad. 1 is that beginning. 1 is that source. Right? When we're going through the creation, we say it was Yom Sheni, the 2nd day, Yom Shlishi, 3rd day, Yom Revi'i, 4th day, 5th day, 6th day. So according to that, what should we say about day 1? It should be what? First day, Yom Rishon. It doesn't say Yom Rishon. What does it say? Yom Echad, day 1. Right? Day 1 and then 2nd day. It doesn't say day 1, day 2, day 3. It doesn't say 1st, 2nd, 3rd. It says day 1, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Why 1? Because that was the epitome of Echad, of it being 1. So the Baal HaTurim is amazing. Samach is not found in this parsha. Why is Samach not found in this parsha? Because Samach is that whole mindset of no beginning and no end. And this is all about Reshit, which is why the world was created, for us to recognize a Reshit. So Samach is all about Amalek. It's not found in this parsha, but it's hinted. Where is it hinted? In the basket, because the basket is that which in fact cuts something off from its life source. It severs it. And what do? You take 1/60. And that's why it's fascinating that not only is 10 a 60, but it's 59-1. Right? It's taking that and making sure we have the Echad. Yes, Janet?
2 questions. So is that by number of fruit? If you had, say, 360 whatever's you harvested, do you take whatever proportion of that is 360, or is it by weight or by?
I'm not sure. You're definitely taking the first, right? I'm not sure. It's a good question. All right, it was saying it's the first of the fruits. I have to go back to the Mishnayos to go through that, get it clearer. It was saying it's the first of the fruits, so how does the number of 160th work in? I need to work that out. I'm not sure.
Okay,
That's a
and
good
the
point.
next question is, even though we're saying Bikurim, if you look, this is really puzzling to me. Each time they say Puri instead of Bikur. Or Bikur.
Yes, This is it's the fruits. It's the fruits. It's the produce. It's the produce. The term that we give it is the bikurim for the lashon of bechor, of the first. Right? The Torah calls it the reshit, called pri adama. Yes. Yes.
I'm not sure I'm right in it. I think he said I couldn't help but remind you of the gerbil going around and around the treadmill and samach. And at some point the gerbil gets on the treadmill. It's his beginning on the treadmill. It's human beings, we connect with this process by giving fruit. We're now part of the process of the giving and the taking and the blessing and the appreciation.
Acknowledging.
That's
certainly the role. Yes.
Getting on the treadmill in a.
Yeah.
Rabbi,
Yeah. Yes.
I have a question. It's a silly.
There are no silly questions.
Talking about bikurim, why is it written here and not in Shavuot? Because Shavuot is the Chag Bikurim. Why is this before Rosh Hashanah and not...
When you say before Rosh Hashanah, meaning what? Why is this in a Parsha that we're reading now before Rosh Hashanah?
Why the Parsha is here and not in Shavuot?
Well, isn't Rosh Hashanah the epitome of Reshit?
Yes.
And it's the first day of the world. It's the beginning of that.
Because the holiday.
Yes, yes. But I hear what you're saying, Yavi. But if I had to pick one of the two, if we're going to have something about the Reshit, I would say Rosh Hashanah would take it. I'll go with Rosh Hashanah. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, it is Chag Bikurim. But if we're focusing on the Reshit, I think Rosh Hashanah is good.
But still Shavuot
Yeah.
is the Chag of Bikurim.
Yeah, that is. Because that's the time of that when it starts Levaker. Yeah. Yes, 1 second, Dovus first.
Take a look over Shemot, 422.
What's there, Dov?
422. Today, Bechori Yisroel.
Yes. Israel is also called the Bechor. Yes. We are the Reshit. Yes. That is correct. Now, one last thing I want to point out, again from the Sefer Mimam Akin. Much importance is given to the first time that a word or a letter appears in the Torah. The first time the letter Samach appears in the Torah, and I'm going to take the Sefer's word for it. It's surprising, but I'll take his word for it. The first time it appears is on page 14, which is Perek Bet, the second paragraph, Pasuk Chaf Aleph. It's talking about the creation of Chava. And it says, Vayapel Hashem Elokim Tardema al Hadam. Hashem cast a deep sleep upon the man. Vayishan, and he slept. Vayikach achat mitzalotav, he took one of his sides. Vayisgor basar tachtena. And then what did he do? Then he closed the flesh in its place. The first time we have...
There is another Samech on page 12.
Okay.
Let's get that one.
Where? Which pasuk?
Which makes even...
Which pasuk? Which pasuk?
י"ד, אז הוא הסובב את כל ארץ כוש.
Aha.
And it's again...
Yeah, and Yud Aleph also.
And it's again giving this idea of
Circles.
that circle, because sovev is
Yes.
something that is going round, round.
Okay,
round,
so I'll have to look again. But he points out that the Samech in Vayisgor is very important. Right? Why is that? What happened when Hashem closed the flesh? Separated, obscured. It covered over the source. It was now no longer evident that Chava had been taken from Adam. So Samach is, right, true to form here. What is it? It is an obfuscation, an obscuring, a covering over of the source, of the beginning.
Why in the Parsha before, in the page before that Matthew mentioned, there was a dot in the Samach? Why is there a dot in that Samach?
Okay, so we have to get Uzi over here,
Right.
right? Grammatically,
I'm not good
yeah, dikduk, grammatically, there are sometimes that a letter will have, right, some letters are simple, that it changes the sound, right? And by a hey, also, besides changing the sound, it also changes the meaning. Right? Aleph Yud Shin Hey is Isha, is a woman. Aleph Yud Shin Hey with a dot means Ish Shelah, her man. Right? So there are grammatic differences that I am completely and absolutely ignorant of. Okay?
Lenore.
Yeah, Lenore Bruckner also. Yes.
Does it also mean after Hava, the human starts to, reproduce and go circle and a circle, one generation?
Okay, that's also a nice idea. Right? So we are meant to be in this cycle of continuation, but we need to have the mapik samach. We need to have the dot in the samach. Oh, I wonder.
Another cycle is a spiral.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder. Do both of those samachs have a dot?
No.
Only one.
Only that one.
No,
only that one.
Only a silver.
Only that one, and I've never seen a dot in the Samach before.
Yeah, interesting, right? Again, I need to look back at the Sefer. I wonder if that's the first samach without a dot in the middle. The samach with a dot in the middle is okay. It's got that nukudah. It has that central point, right? The first time you have a samach without a dot in the middle,
That might have another.
maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I have to look again. I did not check, as you see. I did not. Right? If there's any other samach beside that, but that is interesting, huh? Right? When it has the dot in the middle, it's not so bad.
No.
Right? There it has that nikudah. It has that central point. It's without that. Okay, so with all that's been said, everyone together, I think we get an understanding that why it is for Bikurim, for the sake of Bikurim, the world was created. Bikurim is just part of a process. It's not these different, it could be Israel, it could be Torah, it could be Bikurim, it could be Truma also, Rashi brings in the first Rashi. Truma is also that which comes out and goes to the Kohen. It's not haphazard. It's not mikrat that these things are just called Reshit. All of these things point towards the concept of Reshit, of beginning. And our understanding is the Olam, the place, the world was created in a way that God hides himself in order for us to rise up, for us to take to assume that mantle and to partner in making his name known and evident. And what does that? Torah does that. Yisroel plays that role. Bikurim plays that role. All of these point to that idea of Reshit, which is for that purpose that the world was created. Let's call it, yes.
Sorry, I found another samach for the dot on page 236.
Oh, that we know later.
Yeah.
Later we know.
Okay, so this
Yes.
is before.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
It's interesting. It looks like the Kohen doesn't say anything. the one who brings it is speaking. It's,
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And one other point. So why are we focusing on this, on the Haggadah, as opposed to focusing on Exodus at the Haggadah? The Haggadah is about the Exodus.
Right.
Let's put the microscope onto Exodus. Exodus is what Hashem did. This is about how we need to have a sense of appreciation. The focus of the Seder night is not what Hashem did. The focus of the Seder night is the appreciation that we must feel for what Hashem did. It's not Hashem's Exodus. It's what the Exodus does to us, the appreciation, the obligation, the relationship that resulted. That's not the psukim in Shemot. That is right here. Right? And certainly on Pesach, that's a time where we focus on that idea, that concept, and that being of Reshit. Therefore, it makes perfect sense that this is the Parsha that gets dissected on the Seder night, as opposed to the Exodus, the Shemot, which is just all those events that took place.
Rabbi, is
Yes.
something like a birth or a marriage, you call that Reshit?
Of sorts, certainly.
It's not the Reshit, but
Correct.
it's certainly a change
Yes.
of lifestyle.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So I think that, and I missed the whole beginning, so I have no idea we said the first.
You missed the
30 minutes.
Reshit.
However, I think that going back to what Yafi said, I think the bottom line is sometimes Hashem gives us challenges that seem overwhelming, but we need those challenges, and they're all different and they're all individual, and they are to give us the opportunity to get closer to Him. And so even though they are really hard at times, if we can just see that during those times and be grateful, because ultimately we're going to rise to the occasion in our relationship with Hashem. And the people around us and everything else will become stronger because of that gift that He gives us through our challenges.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Beautiful. That's true.
Covenant.
Okay.
Thanks, though. Yes.